Hello, welcome home to Eden. This is Eve's Eden, where the feminine divine is the primary one who guides everyone, that essence within of the soft, loving heart. Today's topic for us women is how to get the men to listen to us, how to get them not just to listen, but respond. You know, I had a disastrous morning trying to be listened to with a man who I really adore and admire. I really care about the planet, right? I care about solar, and I notice when I go around, all over the region, women immediately are like, oh yeah, let's do this. Let me just talk to my husband and we'll make our appointment, right? Because nowadays it's not about money anymore. You actually can get solar without having to put money out. So she'll get with her husband, and the next thing I know, it's the same phrase. It's always the same. We're busy right now. It's just too much to deal with right now. Sometime in the future, maybe you can come back. This is what the men say. Now, sometimes it's a woman who'll say that, but 9 times out of 10, it's the men, right? Now, we have this planetary issue, right, going on with the climate. We've got to respond, like, immediately, and I'm trying to find a way to get the men to hear me, right? So I say to this guy this morning that I will help him get solar at no cost, and I'll even forgo my commission to do reparations, because I'm trying to do reparations along the way for any friend of mine or anybody of color, just as a habit, if I can afford to, you know. And in this case, I thought, well, you know what, I probably could. And he was so freaking rude to me. So he did not want to hear me. Why? What did I do wrong? Well, I spoke rapidly. I spoke strongly. I was in my masculine because I was doing my work. You know what? The paradox is, if we want the men to hear us and listen to us, we actually have to be in our feminine. It's the feminine who gets listened to. And we are busy feeling that as feminine women, we won't get listened to, so we try to get into the masculine. We shout, we speak loudly, we demand, and I was kind of in that space of, you know, he was like, well, we'll just deal with it later. I really don't, I don't, he had wanted solar, he asked me, but now suddenly he doesn't have the time. And I was like, well, you know, the planet is in a crisis, and this is inconvenient, you know, but we really shouldn't be trying to make it about our convenience to whether or not we get solar now or later. It really needs to just be acted upon. So I said it like that, right? But if I had said, you know, I have this thing that's really important to me, my heartfelt mission that I'm on, and I wonder if you have some time to hear about it and feel on it with me. Actually, what I would have done was bring him into his heart. And then, maybe not right away, instantaneously, but he would come around. Instead, I went to my masculine, which met his masculine. He's going to trump my masculine, because he's going to show he's actually the man and he's got control of the situation, and then just shoot me down. So his last line was, I'm not interested in this conversation right now, right? And it really pissed me off because I spent a whole weekend on an agenda that was very important to him. Very important. He's in a truth and reconciliation and reparations. All this stuff is his life work, and that's a big deal for me. That's part of my life work too. But my bigger work is the planet and women, because women across the board in every race are being subordinated, and the planet is our mother for everyone. So come on, root cause here. Let's listen to the planet. But how do we get the men to listen? Go to our feminine. Isn't that a wonderful paradox? The feminine is not being listened to basically because we're no longer in our feminine. The feminine heart, it's irresistible. The heart space of woman, no one can resist when they feel themselves drop into their heart, that the message goes reverberating through their being. and they might go into silence for a little while, or not knowing what to do as you bring up a topic that feels really big. But I find this really the case when I try to bring up when I feel that men are not listening to me in a way that is very very patriarchal, very much the way many men talk over women or talk us out of our feelings or ignore us. When I try to combat that with, you're doing that thing that all men do. Oh my God, that many men do. The men get into a rage, they get into a fury. How dare you call me sexist? I am not sexist. You're just, you're just a bitch feminist, right? But if I keep it totally specific to that moment, they're willing to hear that. But then what's upsetting to me is I want to talk about the bigger issue. I want to talk about how this is the way they just treated me. Like in the creating of my album, I worked with men who just wouldn't respond to the musical designs I had. They would to a certain degree, and then at a certain level, when it came to my own ignorance musically, they just shot me down. And my ignorance is part of my magnificence in terms of it keeps me innocent enough to have creative ideas that don't fit into the norm, right? And so I want the guys in the music industry to see that this is a big issue in the music business about the way they control women and how powerless we are, because I had to just back down or else I wouldn't get my album made. All the work, all the money I'd put in would be lost, right? So I had to give up various creative ideas along the way with different musical projects I've done. But if I can find the way to stay in my heart, it's huge a difference in terms of getting listened to. The bigger issues about the men being in a context of understanding even the most evolved man is still very likely doing various things that are common, just like a person whose whole life has been dedicated to truth and reconciliation with racism is still going to do stupid racist things, and the more you get into trying to help with that movement, the more stupid you feel, because now you're the one that they can talk to about how pointing it out, and this is good, but it can hurt enough that you want to just close off and say, screw you, I won't help you anymore. But we're all one, we're all one big family, and so stay in your feminine, stay in your heart. When you want to be heard, don't go and explain yourself in masculine terms with a masculine tone of voice or even logically. Just stay with feelings and your specific truth and your specific desire of how they can fix it. And you're likely that they're going to listen 1,000% more than... Then oh man, we got to respond to the climate stuff. Solar is such a quick way to go, and it doesn't cost anybody money. Would you please stand up for that? And you know what? When the guy, whatever it is you're standing up for, whatever it is, and he shoots it down, it does require a little bit of a fight, but your fight can be elegant. It can be coming from feminine integrity. All of these women who back down immediately when the man says, oh no, we don't, I'm not interested in that conversation now, and I'm not interested in the hassle it might take to fill out some paperwork for the solar. The women, if they were to stand up, it would be awkward. It would maybe ruin their dinner, because the guy might be, why are you not totally on the same page with me? If the women were to say, this is important to me, I need to do this to feel right and in balance on the planet. Until now, there's been nothing we could do to help the planet, but now there is something. None of us knew what to do, but now there's something. We can go solar without even paying for it. I'm going to stay. I really would like you to get on this page with me, because this will make me feel in balance. Some way of being willing to have that altercation, which is very inconvenient, right? It's inconvenient when you're in a nice flow with your hubby and he's supporting you in so many ways, and you just don't, you know him, if you say you want something that he's not into, sometimes he's going to get belligerent and really rude and acting like his way is the best way. And so it's those two things together. You being in your feminine heart and at the same time not backing down. You might have to bring it up again and again from the heart and with clarity and more ways to speak about it. And you might have to withhold sex. Doesn't that sound like a bitch? Yeah, but they can't just have access to us if they're not supporting our lives and the causes that we care about. That's our life. So I felt so pissed off that this guy, I've been supporting the cause that supports his life as an African American man, but the cause that supports my life and all the life of the planet and all the lives of the women of the planet, he's not down for even hearing about, right, or moving forward with, means to me that I'm just not as important as he thinks he is, So we have to make ourselves important, though. We have to stand there, stick with it. Stick with it. Stick with it with love, without closing our hearts. But, closing off sexuality is a really good idea, because if you have sex when you're feeling betrayed on various levels, what you start to do is have disassociation with your sexuality. And if you only have sex when you're feeling aligned with him, responding and respecting you, responding to your requests and respecting you, now your sexuality also has a much deeper dimension where you can ask for more and more of what you want in that domain. I'm sounding really masculine right now. I'm like, really? Mama. Well, we do. We have our own masculine just as strong as our feminine. We need to be powerful women. But what's interesting is really being heard. Even for the men, when you're really heard, you're coming from your heart. Okay, much love, darling. Thank you for being with me. I am with you all the way on this. Whatever you need to ask for from him, please tell me how it goes. And if you need ideas on getting your point through to him, let's collaborate. We'll figure it out together. We will, darling. Okay, much love. Love life. Enter Eden. Come home.